Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is our fifth chapter, chapter 5, right? So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the contracting parties. Um, I think in chapter 2 or chapter 3, I think chapter 2, we discuss about the pillars of the contract, right? And we have discussed also the different opinion in the pillars, right? So the pillars, basically, the sigha, ijab and qabul, right? And second one is contracting parties, al-aqidan, buyer and seller. And the third one is mahallul aqad, subject matter, right? Subject matter refer to the commodity and also to the price. So we have another chapter on the subject matter. So this one about the contracting parties, right? So we are going to discuss today in this session the legal capacity of a contracting parties. Because if anyone want to sign a contract, right, he or she must be legally capable, legally eligible, right? Eligible in terms of age, eligible in terms of maturity, in terms of intellect, and so on. So this is called legal capacity. In Arabic, this is called Ahliyyah, right? The word is Ahliyyah. Ahliyyah means eligibility, capacity. And we'll discuss, inshallah, Ahliyyah has two types, Ahliyyah al-wujub and Ahliyyah al-ada. Wujub means something reception, something you receive, right? And ada means something you perform, you undertake, or you deliver, right? So in terms of receptive and active, Ahliyyah has two types, Ahliyyah al-wujub, Ahliyyah al-ada. And then followed by the impediment to legal capacity. There are some issue or some situation in which the contracting parties, they lose their eligibility, means they become no more eligible to sign any contract, right? For example, somebody got sick, become crazy, right? Means the intellect is not perfect, or somebody is not smart enough, right? Kind of we can say stupid, means does not understand anything, right? Does not have any knowledge about the financial dealings, and so on. There are some. We will discuss details, inshallah. Impediment. Impediment means the barrier, right? The barrier, something that prevent to exercise the legal transactions, right? Okay, so this is our focus today, the legal capacity and also the impediment to legal capacity. Okay, so as an introduction, a contract cannot take place without the contracting parties, right? Of course. So contracting parties are the pillars according to the majority, right? If you remember, and according to Hanafi, the pillar is only ijab and qabul. Contracting parties execute the contract with offer and acceptance, right? The validity of a contract heavily rely on the legal capacity of the contracting parties. Let's say you have everything, ijab and qabul, and subject matter also fine, and the price also perfect, no issue. But suddenly we found that the buyer and seller, one of them is still minor, right? Is still below 18, for example. So under 18 cannot sign any contract, right? So the contract becomes invalid or pending, right? Pending may be subject to the approval of guardian. In that case, okay, right? So that's why understanding the contracting part is also important to understand the terms and condition of a contract. So there are basically two things to sign a contract. Either you have legal capacity or you have guardianship, right? These are two requirements. let's say I'm signing the contract because I am legally capable, or I'm signing the contract even though I'm not legally capable, but I have my guardian. So somebody can sign the contract on behalf of me, as long as he or she is my guardian, is my mentor, for example, right? So there are two things, two conditions for the contracting parties: Ahliyyah. Ahliyyah means legal capacity, and al-wilaya, right? Wilaya. Wilaya means guardianship, authorization or authority, right? Legal Ahliyyah, the literally means capacity or competence. So, as a technical meaning, Ahliya means the eligibility of a person to establish right and for an obligation upon himself. Ahliya means you are capable to acquire or to establish right, for example, to buy something, right, or to incur the obligation, for example, to sell something. Because if you want to buy, you will enjoy the rights, right? If you want to sell, so you have some sort of obligation to deliver the subject matter, right? So ahliya means the eligibility or the capacity of a person to establish right for, to enjoy rights, or to incur the liabilities, right? So as I mentioned earlier, ahliya has two types: ahliya al-wujub. This is called receptive legal capacity. Receptive means reception. You can receive, you can enjoy. Somebody can enjoy the rights. So this is called ahliya al-wujub. And ahliya al-ada, active, means somebody can enjoy and also can exercise. But in certain case, a person can enjoy the right, but cannot exercise the rights. For example, let's say an orphan or somebody below 18. Somebody under 18 can enjoy the rights. Let's say he or she got the in miras, or somebody donated for him or her. All right. So can enjoy, uh, can get the ownership, right? Can enjoy the ownership of the asset, but cannot exercise. For example, as long as he or she is below 18, cannot sell, cannot buy, cannot donate to somebody else. Right? This is called ada, active, right? So again, the ujub means receptive. You can receive only. Let's say below 18 can receive. Let's say you donate for someone who is below 18, but he or she can receive, right? Can be owner, but cannot exercise yet, cannot do anything because still minor, right? So this is called ada. Ada means to perform, right? To exercise, and ujub means to receive. Okay. So ahliya ujub refers to the capacity of a person to receive rights and obligation, right? So it starts from the beginning of taking birth and ends at death, right? So after coming in this world, right, and until the death, right? So beginning from the first day of life and until the death, a person can have ahliya al-wujub, means can receive rights and responsibilities as long as he or she is alive, not dead. So ujub has two types again. Ujub kamila. First one, ujub naqisa, right? Naqisa. Naqisa means incomplete, deficient. So ahliya al-wujub and naqisa, this is incomplete, receptive legal capacity. Right? The capacity for rights only, but not obligation. So this is ujub naqisa, incomplete. Why incomplete? Because at that moment, he or she can just enjoy the rights, but cannot incur obligation. For example, a fetus in mother's womb, right? Let's say somebody got pregnant. Let's say someone close to you, someone's sister or someone brother's wife got pregnant, so they become very happy. They want to donate. They want to give something as a gift for the fetus. So the fetus can receive the gift. The fetus can be honored, right? But of course, the fetus still cannot incur any obligation because it's still inside. But he or she can receive the rights. For example, somebody put a lot of money for him or her in a bank account, but it's still in the fetus, is still in the stage of fetus. Right, can. But this one ujub naqisa, because cannot incur obligation, cannot do anything yet. Okay. So ujub kamila, the capacity for inheritance, right and responsibility, means so ujub kamila start after giving birth, after coming into this world, right? So after coming into this world and until the death, this is called ujub kamila. But before coming into the world, means as long as in the fetus, inside the mother's womb, this one ujub naqisa. Why ujub kamila? Because a baby sometimes intentionally or unintentionally can incur liabilities, right? Can break something, can destroy something. So the guardian has to pay the compensation, right? That's why it is ujub kamila. Ujub kamila means can enjoy rights, also can incur the liabilities. Okay? So the stage of ujub naqisa is for the fetus, as long as inside. But as long as it comes outside, it becomes ujub kamila. Okay? But it's still in the receptive level. It's still not other. It still cannot perform anything. Okay? So the opposite of is other, active. Active means capacity of a human being for the issuance of words and performance of deeds to which the lawgiver has certain legal effects. Means can incur the liability or can do something that has legal consequence. For example, buying, selling, destroying something. So if destroy something, has to pay the compensation, right? So for Ahliyyah al-Adab, the criteria is the maturity of intellect, right? Means the maturity. But the criteria for Ahliyyah al-Wujub al-Kamilah is being alive, right? Okay. But criteria for Ahliyyah al-Ada is the maturity, right? The maturity of intellect. For example, worship has to pray salat, has to pay zakat, has to perform hajj, because as long as matured and as long as have capability. Punishment. So if do something wrong, if he or she does something wrong, so will be penalized. And transaction can do any transaction as long as has the ahliya al-ada, active legal capacity. Okay. So why types of capacity means where we can observe the capacity. For example, capacity to perform the worship, capacity to be penalized or to get punishment, capacity to undertake any transactions. Right? So similarly, like Ahliya al-Wujub, Ahliya al-Ada also has two types. Ada Naqisa, Ada Kamila. Right? Ada Naqisa means incomplete, deficient. Ada al-Kamila, complete, perfect. Okay? So what is Ada Naqisa? The competency of person to do certain disposition with and subject to the authorization of another person. Other nafisa means can perform, right? Can undertake, but it will not be effective. It will be pending, subject to the approval of guardian. For example, a boy who is not matured yet, let's say from the age of 7 until the age of maturity. So starting from 7 and below 18, 7 to 18, this is other naqisa, because as long as he or she is 7, can do anything, right? Sometimes can buy, can sell, but that will not be effective without permission of the guardian. So a minor has ahliya, al-ada, and naqisa, deficient active legal capacity. Okay? A minor who reaches the age of 7 until he reaches the age of maturity. So he also called sabi mumayyiz. Sabi means boy. Mumayyiz means someone who can differentiate between right and wrong. Right? Smart boy. Sabi mumayyiz. So if sabi mumayyiz can do something, or when a sabi mumayyiz does something, what will be the legal ruling? What will be the legal decision? The disposition of sabi mumayyiz, uh, as Hanafi school give the decision, disposition which are purely for one's own benefit. If sabi mumayyiz, the smart boy who who is yet to reach the age of maturity, if the sabi mumayyiz does something which is purely good, useful, okay, then it is permitted. And if something which purely detrimental, purely harmful, then not permitted. If let's say does something neutral, not solely beneficial and not solely detrimental, then it will be subject to the approval of the guardian. If guardian says okay, then okay. If guardian say no, then it will not be effective. Okay. So this is the decision on the action of a sabi mumayyiz according to Hanafi school. Okay. So this is about ada nafisa. Why we discuss about sabi mumayyiz? Because sabi mumayyiz is the example, or sabi mumayyiz is the someone who holds the ada nafisa, ahliya ada nafisa. What about ahliya ada al-Kamilah? Ahliya ada al-Kamilah is basically the competency of person to do whatever acts and disposition he likes without any need to get permission from other. It means Ahliya Ada al Kamila is means a complete, perfect, matured person. Right. The person who reached the age of maturity, this is called bulugh, and prudent means rushd, has also intellect, smartness, have this legal capacity. Because sometimes even though a person reach the age of maturity, let's say reach the 18, right, but is still not smart enough, means still does not have the rushd, so he or she cannot do any transaction, right? Because in the Quran Allah mentioned what? فَإِنْ آنَسْتُمْ مِنْهُمْ رُشْدًا. If you see the maturity in those orphan, in those yatim, then you can transfer their wealth to them, right? Let's say under your custody, in your custody or under your guardianship, there are some orphan boys and girls, right? So even though they reach at the age of maturity, at the legal age 18, but still you cannot hand over their asset to them, as long as they don't have rushd, right? So you have to realize whether they have rushd or not. Means they have to become smart enough to handle their asset. So sometimes age alone is not enough. They should have rushd. So the person who reaches the age of puberty, puberty means maturity, bulugh. Bulugh means maturity in terms of age, and rushd, maturity in terms of intellect. Okay. So in that stage, the person will have Ahliyyah al-Ada al-Kamilah. So who has Ahliyyah Ada al-Kamilah? The someone who is matured in terms of age, and someone who is matured in terms of smartness, in terms of intellect. Okay. So how to determine legal capacity? Shall we refer only to the law or also something else? Okay, when we refer to the law, the Islam Sharia law says the 15 years, majority of the jurists, and 18 years for male and 17 years for female, Hanafi. You see, female are smart enough, right? They become smart before men. 17, enough. But according to Malaysian law, I think it's common, quite common in many countries, 18 years. Right, 18 years is the legal capacity. However, as I mentioned before, only 18 years will not be enough to say that he or she has the legal capacity, right? He or she must have also that one called rushd, the maturity in terms of intellect. Then only we can transfer their asset to them. We can allow them to buy and sell or to conduct any transaction, right? When we say smartness, is not a smartness in the higher level, at least minimum intellect they should have to handle their assets, right? Because there is no ceiling, there is no limit for smartness, right? Okay. So this is the summary of whatever we discussed so far. Ahliyyah, legal capacity. What is legal capacity? Something that enable the person to undertake any financial transaction, or something that a person should have to enjoy rights and to incur the liabilities. This is called legal capacity, Ahliyyah. So the basic foundation for Ahliyyah is what? The basic component is Aqal, intellect, and Hayat, life. The person should be alive, and also the person should have Aqal, intellect. So, and basically, Ahliyyah is two types, Ujub and Ada. The component or the foundation for Ujub is should be alive. As long as the person alive, he or she can receive the rights, right? And Ada, for Ada, he or she must have the intellect. So Ujub has two types, Naqisa and Kamila, incomplete and complete. Fetus, the example of incomplete, and infant. Infant is the example of complete. And Ahliyatul Ada also two types, incomplete, complete. Incomplete, the minor possesses discretion, means sabi mumayyiz. The smart boy means from age 7 to below 18. And Kamila is a completely mature person. Okay. Okay. So this is the second part, impediment to legal capacity. What are the barriers? So before discussing impediment, do you have any questions so far about Ahliyyah? Anybody has question about Ahliyyah? Do you understand? Ahliyatul Ada, Ahliyah Ujub, Kamila, Naqisa. Yes, yes, please go ahead. Underage boy, if underage boy want to do anything, he should get approval from the parents. Yes, if parents allow, then okay. Okay, if parents allow and approve, then okay. Okay, any other question? Okay, any other question? Okay, let's continue. Then you can ask question again if you have. Impediment. Impediments means barrier, right? Barrier. Let's say even though someone reach the legal age, someone becomes 18, but if he or she has this problem, any one of them, then he or she cannot do any transaction because they have barrier. So what are the barriers? Number one is insanity. Insanity means it seems like become crazy, yeah, become crazy. Means doesn't have proper mind, sound mind. And second one, partial insanity. Partial insanity means not full crazy. Sometime or in certain times becomes crazy. Certain times perfect is okay like that. Forgetfulness. It always forget. Number four, weakness of intellect. This is called safah, right? سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ. In the Quran, Allah mentioned, right? Safi. Safi means stupid. Is the opposite of rushd. Even though becomes 18, but is still not smart enough, or does not have minimum knowledge to handle the asset and to handle other things, right? So still cannot sign the contract. Safa. Then death illness, the last moment of life. So when a person reach in the last illness, in that moment he or she cannot do anything, cannot buy their asset, cannot sell their asset, cannot donate, okay, even cannot divorce, cannot do anything. Yes, except can do wasiya, right? This is a very exception, so that he can be benefited by this wasiya in hereafter. So, but that wasiya is up to 1/3 only, 1/3. Okay, we discuss later on the details, death, illness. So when a person reach in the bed of death, right, then no more eligible to do anything. Intoxication, somebody got drunk, right? So cannot do anything. Bankruptcy, right? When a person become bankruptcy, then he cannot do anything, cannot undertake any financial transaction. The last one is coercion. Coercion means by force. Let's say you are doing this contract because somebody force you. Somebody force you mentally or physically or by anything that you cannot overlook or you cannot handle, right? So that one also will not be executed and effective. Okay. So these are the barrier, the impediment for legal capacity. Insanity, partial insanity, forgetfulness, the weakness of intellect, death, illness, intoxication, bankruptcy, and coercion. Okay, one by one, briefly. Insanity, Junun, in Arabic called Junun. Mental derangement, mental disorder. It has two types, regular, they were always 24 hours or to the whole year, all time, or casual. Casual means sometimes some people they become sick in the winter season, right? Malaysia doesn't have winter season. Malaysia is only one season, right? But in other countries, let's say very, very cold winter season. So some people become sick mentally in the winter season, right? Majnun, yes, Junun, Majnun. So this is called casual, means occasionally. So whatever, both of the types eliminate legal capacity as like as a minor without discretion. Because when a person becomes sick mentally, so he or she becomes like a boy, like a baby, like a minor person without discretion, means cannot differentiate what is good and what is bad for him, right? That's why an insane person is put under a guardian. So nobody is allowed to deal with an insane person. If an insane person, if a crazy person sell his house, then the buyer is very happy. He got cheaper price, but that buy and sell will not be effective, right? That one will be pending with the approval of guardian. Okay. In this hadith, the Prophet mentioned the pen is lifted from 3%. Means 3% is free from any liability. If they can do anything, they will not be accountable for that. This is the pen of Malaika, who is recording or who are recording our activities, right? So they will not record the activities of 3% from a sleeping person until he wakes up, right? So as long as a person is asleep, he will not be accountable. From an insane till he recovers, right? And from a minor until he reaches age of maturity or puberty. So this 3%, they are free from accountability. That's why their action does not have any legal outcome, legal effect. Okay. Second, partial insanity. A person at times speaks like a sane and normal, while at others he is like a crazy. Sometimes okay, sometimes not okay, right? So he is equivalent to that of a minor with discretion, sabi mumayyiz. He is also same. his activities, his exchange, or his transaction will not be approved until the approval of guardian. Forgetfulness, a circumstance that befall a man without his volition, causing loss of remembrance of something. Maybe this is we call short-term memory loss, right? Let's say for any accident or anything, it happens that he used to forget, right? He becomes very forgetful. He cannot remember what he does at morning, right? Forget at evening, and what he does at evening cannot remember morning, something like that, right? So majority says the contracts are invalid, right? Hanafi says contracts are valid. Why? Some people can misuse this opportunity. Say, oh, sorry, I forgot. Sorry, normally I forget. So stopping false defenses, right? And also preserve the security of a contract. Because if we generally accept the forgetfulness, then people can misuse this and can take this one as an opportunity, right? So that's why Hanafi says the contracts are valid. But this is the very brief statement. It has details. Details means for the forgetfulness, that should be checked case by case basis, right? When somebody claim I am a forgetful person, then he must go the medical treatment, or his medical history will be investigated, whether he has any medical history or not, whether anything's happened in his life that once upon a time he or she lose the short memory, right, become short-term memory loss. So that one should be investigated case to case basis. Cannot give a general decision, because if we say generally it is invalid, then people will misuse this one. People will take this one as an opportunity. That's why Hanafi scholar says it is not general. It should be case to case basis to stop the false defense and to preserve the security of a contract. The Hanafi school always they respect the activities of a mature person, right? That's why they cannot say simply we cannot cancel the contract as long as it is done by a mature person. Even in the marriage also, the Hanafi they does not require the permission of the guardian as long as they are mature, so they are smart enough to take the decision, right? But however, for other reason, for maslaha and so on, the guardian should be there, right? The guardian should be there. Okay, sorry. Next, sorry. The weakness of intellect, safa. As I mentioned, safi. A person's financial activities run contrary to the guideline of Sharia and reason. Means a person does not know how to undertake the financial dealings. Sometimes it goes against the Sharia, sometimes it goes against the reason, the akal. That's why in economics, right? If you study economics, the economists assume that every person is smart enough to make an economic decision. They call the rational decision, right? Everybody must behave rationally. Rationally means when a person makes an economic decision, economic choice, so he's supposed to be smart enough so that he can take a rational decision. What is the rational decision? The rational decision means in a decision, your marginal cost will be less than your marginal benefit. Marginal benefit should be more than marginal cost, right? So if somebody cannot make a good decision, it means he doesn't understand that thing, right? This is called safa. That's why when we do not know anything very clearly, we seek assistance from other people, right? Let's say you want to buy a laptop. So you want to go the technology mall or online shopping to make the order for laptop, but you don't understand the laptop specification very well. So what we do normally, we seek the assistance from other people, right? Our friend or someone who is expert in that case, right? So that we can make a good decision. We can make a rational decision when we buy the laptop. So similarly for all cases, right? So this is called safah. So as long as we are safah, we are not smart to handle that transaction. So it's better for us to seek assistance from other people, from someone who is smart enough. Okay. So it's the opposite of rushd, which is maturity of action in financial dealing. Imam Shafi said rushd means maturity in financial dealings and in religion. Right. So if somebody has weakness, so better he will not undertake any financial dealings. Right. Ruling for an adult with safa. Um, an adult person, a mature person who is safa, so what he will do? So he is not allowed to interfere with his property. Imam Abu Hanifa says up to 25 years. Means at least should wait until 25 years so that we'll see whether he understand or not. But majority says till the end of safa. So this is the logic that if, let's say, a person is not matured enough for the whole life, right? So in that case, he should not be allowed to deal with his property, right? All of his transactions should be pending based on the approval of his guardian. Procedure of interdiction in relation to safa. Um who will give the decision whether a person is safi or not? So it should be decided by the court. So interdiction will be imposed by the order of the court. Right? The disposition of a safi prior to that remains suspended until the decision of the court. So the court will decide whether his transaction will be effective or not. However, if the court appoints someone as his guardian, let's say his brother, his elder brother, or his father, or someone else, the court appoints him or her his guardian, then the guardian approval is okay, all right. But that the point is somebody should have the legal authority to handle his property. So how you get the legal authority? By the court, right? By the decision of the court. Okay? Because when a person become mature, even his father also does not have the legal capacity for everything to handle his property. Everybody is as long as he is 18, so everybody is free to handle his asset, right? So even though for the father should have the legal authority to handle his asset. So this is the procedure. Next, the death illness, right? The last moment of life. This is a situation when a person has a logical apprehension of imminent death. So how we can determine whether this illness is last or not? So this is common sense. People understand. People can understand sometimes. Not sometimes, most of the time, people can realize, right? This is my last moment of life, or even the people around him also can realize. So if somebody in the last illness, right, the bed of death, then the following action will not be effective. For example, divorce, making a will, or any donation or gift, giving a gift to one of his heirs, selling his property without a fair price, selling his property while he has a debt. So all of these transactions will not be effective as long as the person is in the last illness, right? Because now his property all belong to his waris. So after his death, the waris will handle and they will do whatever they have to do. Okay. So if why all this action will not be effective? Because the last moment, if you want to somebody want to sell his asset without a fair price, it means he doesn't want to give his waris the asset, right? He want to deprive them so that they will not enjoy the miras. So this is a kind of bad intention, right? And if he has a debt, so he has to settle the debt. Why he is selling his property? It means he wants to run away from the debt. So when a person become illness, like in the last illness, he is no more the owner of his asset. All of his properties will be belong to the waris, except 1/3. 1/3 he can do wasiya, only 1/3. Even 1/3 he can do wasiya for other people, not for the waris. If he wants to do wasiya for the waris, he must have permission from other waris. Let's say a person has 4 sons, so he wants to give something extra to one of his sons, cannot. In the last illness, in the death illness, right? So he has to get permission from other sons. Okay. So this is the last illness. In the death illness, the person lose the legal capacity. Intoxication. How do we decide someone has death illness? Yes, this is the question. That's why I mentioned this is a logical apprehension. Means people can realize this is a common sense, right? In most cases, we have seen that even maybe the person itself and sometimes his relatives, in most cases, they can realize that this is the last moment of life, right? Maybe reaches at coma or maybe become very weak or whatever. This is that's a logical understanding. If people realize and person realize that this is the last moment, and then in that moment cannot do anything. Right. Intoxication. Okay. Intoxication prevents a person from distinguishing what is good and what is bad, right? It can be either voluntarily or involuntarily. Voluntarily means his own decision, right? Involuntarily, maybe by force, not with his own decision. So involuntarily, the contracts are not valid. Voluntary contracts are valid by the majority. According to Hanbali juris, not valid. Voluntary, why contract are valid? As a punishment. Because he become drunk by his own decision. But for the maslaha of all, buyer and seller, uh, his dealing should not be valid, right? Should not be valid. So Hanbali juris, that's why they say it is not valid. Yeah, so any transaction in the intoxication, whether it is voluntarily or involuntarily, the contract will be invalid. Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy means whose debt are equal or greater than his property. Somebody has 100 million asset and 100 million liability. So no plus minus equal to 0. So no asset, he become bankrupt. Or somebody has 100 million asset but 120 million liabilities, still bankrupt, right? Muflis, iflas, right? Iflas, in Arabic called iflas, bankruptcy. So he is restricted from disposing his property to protect his creditors. So that's why the bankrupt person, the court give decision, right? And all of his accounts, all of his assets by the court of decision become frozen, seized by the government or authority, right? So he is not allowed, and other people also is not allowed to deal with him as long as he remains bankrupt. The Prophet ﷺ has prevented one of his Sahabi Muaz from disposing of his property and sold the property and paid the debt to the creditors, right? So this is we got the example even from the Prophet ﷺ. He exercised this ruling with a person who is bankrupt, right? Who has debt. Let's say a person has debt, loan, but he is not paying the loan. So the authority by force can take his asset and can pay his loan. So a bankrupt person, even though he is mature, even though he is smart, but he becomes not eligible to do any financial dealings. Right? The last one is coercion by force, ikrah, in Arabic called ikrah. Majority scholars says contracts are invalid. Hanafi says contracts are voidable, fasid. Means fasid means contracts will be in the middle, in pending, right? So after removing coercion, if he wishes to continue, he can continue. If he wants to revoke the contract, he can cancel the contract. Except for marriage, divorce, and manumission. In that case, the contract is invalid, like with majority. Manumission means to release the slave, right? To free the slave, right? So the majority says contracts are invalid, means contracts will become ineffective, no more, not effective. Okay. So these are the 7 issues we discussed. Is considered the impediments to legal capacity: insanity, partial insanity, forgetfulness, weakness of intellect, death, illness, intoxication, bankruptcy, and coercion. Okay. Okay. Next, the issue of legal capacity in the online contract. Last time we discussed the online contract, right? Ijab and Qabul and Majlisul Aqad. But another issue is how we confirm that the other person who is dealing other side, he or she has the legal capacity or not. So we have to confirm the age of the contracting parties, get to know the soundness of intellect, right? And also sometimes it's subject to the jurisdiction. Let's say it could be different from country to country, right? From market to market. But whatever, we have to confirm the legal age, and also we have to confirm the soundness. Make sure that you are not dealing with robot. Huh? Okay. Second one, the first condition we discussed so far, Ahliyyah, right? Legal capacity. What about the second one, Wilaya, authorization, guardianship. So an authority granted to a person to conduct dealing for others. Right. So this is initially to guardian on oneself, means to be owner of the subject matter, or guardianship on another means getting the authorization to deal with other people's property. First of all, you have to have your own authorization to deal with your own property. No issue. Let's say there is no issue. It's my property. I can deal with my property. Sometimes people cannot deal with their own property, right? So authorization for yourself and authorization to deal with other people's property, right? So property can be, authorization can be achieved voluntarily, like wakala agency. We got somebody, you appoint someone as wakil, so it means you give him authorization to deal with your property, right? In Islamic finance, they are now practicing mostly wakala bil istismar, right? Authorization to invest, to manage the portfolio. So in all the mutual fund, unit trust, right? These are handling by wakala. So this is wakala bil istismar, the authorization for investment. Okay, and also wakala is mostly practiced in the LC, the documentary credit or letter of guarantee, right? And also in many contracts, the wakala is using in takaful also, takaful wakala model, and also wasiya. If somebody will for someone, so of course he will get the authorization on that property, right? Let's say somebody make a will of his house for you. So after his death, you will get the authorization on his house, something like that. Okay. So so that's all. We discussed the Ahliyyah, Ahliyyah al-Wujub, Ahliyyah al-Adha, and also we discussed the impediments, the legal capacity, which are 7: insanity, partial insanity, forgetfulness, weakness, death, illness, intoxication, bankruptcy, and caution. Okay. So these are the review question for you. You can go through, you can discuss. Okay. All right. So I think that's all for this chapter. Do you have any question now? Other Swalan? Is it intoxication person who drank or get a drug? Both. In Sharia, there is no difference becoming drunk or drug, because drug also in the ruling of drunk, same. Anything that makes the people losing their mind and not able to differentiate between what is good, what is bad, it will be considered intoxication. Okay? Any kind of drug. For example, nowadays there are many new types of drug, right? Coming always. So all are the same ruling. As long as people lose their mind. Okay? All are haram. That's why the punishment, the had for the khamar, the scholar discuss whether the same punishment will be for the drug and others. Yes, the answer is yes. Intoxication is same as unsound mind. Not exactly same, because a person can be unsound for other reason also, not only for intoxication, right? Somebody can be really mentally sick, or sometimes people become mentally sick for any accident or for any shock or anything. But intoxication is only one reason for unsound mind. Right? Also, in the case of intoxication, the unsound mind is not the all things. There is also another thing is a kind of punishment also. Let's say you become drunk by your own decision. So, and in that moment, if you do anything wrong, of course you should be liable. Right. Okay. Let's say a man signed a lease agreement for 2 years. A few months later, that man died. Can the man's wife continue the contract, or does she need to sign a new contract with the landlord? No, no, can continue. Can continue. No need the new contract, because the lease contract for the landlord, a man signed a lease agreement for 2 years. A few months later, the man died. So that man is the lessor or lessee. Oh, a new contract with the landlord. No, no. Yeah, then she has to sign a new contract if she is the lessee, right? If she is the lessee. But if landlord died, then landlord's wife no need to make a new contract. So the ruling is different. Whether it is landlord or the landlord means lessor. Lessor means the owner of the property, right? And lessee means someone who rent the house. All right. So if the lessee dies, then this one will not transfer to the miras. She has to contract, uh, sign a new contract. But let's say if they already stay together, let's say a family rented the house for 2 years, and then suddenly the man dies. So in that case, no need to renew. No need to renew. Okay. If they stay together already in the house, same house, so no need to sign the new contract. Right? I hope you understand. Okay, is there any other question? Okay, so this is the answer. Uh, for the landlord, no need for the landlord. If landlord dies, then it will be transferred to the waris. So no need to sign a new contract. But if the tenant dies, then another new tenant, whether it is wife or son, they have to sign new contract. But if they already stay together in the same house, so no need to sign new contract. Okay. Okay. So if no question, then okay, I have a question to you. We are talking about the Ahliyyah, right? Legal capacity for human being. What about the capacity for the institution, financial institution? Let's say a bank. The bank is buying and selling, or any other institution, even a fund. We talk about the mutual fund. So mutual fund can buy and sell, right? So where their Ahliyyah comes from? What types of Ahliyyah they have? Hmm? What types of Ahliyyah a financial institution has? Okay, so this is the assignment for al-Atah. So they don't have al-Ujub, then how a financial institution can receive the rights? How a bank can enjoy the and can become the owner for the asset? And sometimes bank become bankrupt, right? Like a man. Let's say the bank ABC has declared bankrupt. So how a bank, which is not a human being, how can become bankrupt like a human being? So what types of ahliya they have? So this is for your assignment, short assignment. You have to find the answer, and this one no need to put on the clip. You can answer me next class, or I think better you put to the clip. I will open the room in the clip. So whatever answer you has or you have, just put in the clip, the group. Okay. So I think if you Google, you will get the answer. So try to read some things. Yes, by group. This is important because a financial institution can buy, can sell, can donate, can pay zakat, can become bankrupt. So how? Right? So what types of ahliya? What is the name of this ahliya? Okay. So try to get the answer, and before next class, I mean, be next week. By next week, you can upload on the clip. Maybe I will go through and I will discuss the next class, inshallah, with you. All right. Is there any other question? Okay. Don't forget to give your attendance in the link. And if there is no more question, then let's close the session with Tasbih al-Kafara and Surah Al-Asr. سبحانك اللهم استغفرك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأتوب إليك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر صدق الله العظيم. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. See you inshallah next week. And in the meantime, of course, if you have any question, anything, you can discuss in the WhatsApp group. Okay? Okay. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you, Doctor.
Right. You are welcome.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.